So it's been done. They've done it. Did you know that when it comes to Polkadot developers, they recently announced an alleged big upgrade? Now, I'll explain what that is in today's video, even though nothing I say is financial advice and even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. So Polkadot developers, right? They announced how this big upgrade was basically for Polkadot documents and how it just landed basically. What this quite essentially means is that every documents page is now large language model or LLM friendly, which allegedly makes it easier for AI agents and developer tools to understand and work with Polkadot. I think this right here is really impressive because this does turn, I think, a new page when it comes to Polkadot. Making it a lot more AI friendly, I think is just going to open a lot more doors. Sure, when it comes to DOT, its native token, as of right now, the pullback when it comes to the past 24 hours has been almost 6% at the time of this recording, but still, I think I can't deny the fact that this seems like a pretty impressive upgrade when it comes to Polkadot because Polkadot 2.0, when that launched, when that happened, a lot of people didn't really care. They were like, okay, who cares about elastic scaling when it comes to that? Okay, understandable, but I think that was kind of a major victory actually. And then we add also on top of that, this right here. So not only does Polkadot 2.0 make it so that allegedly it's easier for developers to kind of build on Polkadot, but also at the same time, now we're seeing how this recent upgrade is making it easier for AI agents and developer tools to understand and work with Polkadot. I think it's very impressive. So the culmination, right? The events leading up to this, I think kind of created this puzzle that is now complete, almost in a sense. I think that's not such a good analogy, but I think you get what I mean, right? It just seems like now a lot of these things that Polkadot has been doing has kind of come into fruition because we take a look at their emphasis quite a long time ago when it comes to making things a lot easier when it comes to developers. Everyone kind of laughed it off. They thought it was a joke, but they're kind of trying to complete the storyline. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Avengers, right? They completed the storyline, allegedly, which, I thought it was a good movie series. But yeah, besides that point, when I take a look at Polkadot right here, I think this is very impressive because Polkadot's core mission is for interoperability, in my opinion, right? It's focused on connecting blockchains together, in which case, inherently, if they want people to kind of care about this, if they want a lot of developers to care about this, they have to make it easier for developers to build on Polkadot in the first place. It only makes sense. So of course, these type of upgrades that I'm seeing right here, it's only logical in my opinion. It may not matter as of right now because the price charts aren't looking the best, but it could matter later on down the line. It's like, for instance, Ethereum, they've been building for a very long time. And we're seeing, Ethereum have massive adoption even as of right now, but that wouldn't have been possible if there was no developments going on in the first place. Polkadot, is it as massive as Ethereum? No. But it is currently ranked 35th in the world when it comes to this space, at least when it comes to the market cap of it and how it ranks against the other projects within the space. So it's a pretty decently sized project and it needs to develop, in my opinion. So, of course, naturally, when it comes to the upgrades that I'm seeing, I think it only helps them moving forward. If, let's say, Polkadot genuinely didn't care, didn't want to do anything, isn't that kind of a bad thing? So I don't get it. When a project doesn't update, people complain. But when they update, a lot of people say, wow, it's so bad. It's like, so what is it, right? Either don't update at all or update. I'd rather have updates. That's my mindset. And a lot of these projects are community driven. So it does matter, in my opinion. Not to mention, when it comes to, in the case of DOT as of right now, which is Polkadot's native token, it has over 1 million holders even as of right now, which is kind of ridiculous in a good way because a lot of people think that, oh wow, no one really cares about Polkadot right now, but apparently over 1 million people do. Now, granted, is Polkadot doing the best? No, but I'm just saying still. Not to mention, it was confirmed not too long ago that the maximum supply when it comes to DOT is going to stay at 2.1 billion. So that gives a lot more clarity when it comes to, I guess, the potential inflation that we might see when it comes to DOT. That's just my perspective. Not to mention, Polkadot not too long ago had a redesign, right? Now, the redesign was mostly about kind of the aesthetics when it comes to Polkadot. They kind of changed the color scheme of the logo and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, Before it was pink, but now, of course, it's the color scheme that we see of today, which I think, I mean, it is what it is, but I guess the intent of Polkadot was like minimalism and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. But besides that point, when I take a look at, in the case of Polkadot, let's not forget, Polkadot even has a support system, right? Take a look at Kusama, which is Polkadot's canary network. Usually, projects that want to build on Polkadot, they'll typically start off with Kusama first. They test it out there, and after everything's kind of good to go, later on they move on to Polkadot. Let's not forget about that. A lot of people just kind of forget that Kusama even exists sometimes, but I haven't forgotten about it. It's an integral part, I think, to Polkadot in a sense. Projects don't necessarily have to move on to Polkadot later. They can just stay on Kusama forever, basically, if they want to. Like, for instance, in the case of Moonriver, which is on Kusama. But at the same time, Kusama does play a role. So Polkadot, fundamentally, it's kind of still there, in my opinion. It's kind of set. But of course, the price charts are not doing good. Neither is the price chart when it comes to Kusama, by the way, but I'm just saying, is it necessarily a bad thing, though? It depends who you talk to, I suppose, right? If, you ask Warren Buffett, are low prices, let's say in a make-believe scenario, when it comes to Apple stocks, if let's say the price was low, if you ask him if it's good or not, he might say that it's hypothetically good, you know, for dollar cost averaging reasons. But for others, they might not think it's a good thing. So it really depends on the mindset, right? Some people view low prices as a bad thing, some people view low prices as a good thing. It really depends on the lens. For exiting, of course, low prices are not good, in my opinion. But for dollar cost averaging, that's what I want to focus on the most, personally. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but that's just my mindset. Because it's like, for instance, in the case of real estate, if I'm a real estate developer, I'd want to acquire that property at a low of a price as possible. Preferably, it might not happen, but preferably. That's just kind of my perspective. And if I take a look at it, if I just want to, I guess, zoom out when it comes to Polkadot, right? Keep in mind, back in December 2024, it was around $10.50. We're clearly, right, around 8 times lower than that as of right now. Is that a bad thing? I mean, it depends who you talk to, but personally for me, I don't necessarily view it as a bad thing because keep in mind, $10.50 isn't really considered to be that good actually when it comes to Polkadot. Keep in mind, its all time high, right, is $55 approximately. So $10.50 is not considered that good, but we're still around 8 times lower than that, around 8 times lower than $10.50. So if it could just go back to that, I'm already celebrating. It's already kind of like a party for me. But could it go back there though? Now that's the big question. I mean, it's probably going to have to take quite a while, if any, right? It's going to take a broader change in market sentiment, but I'm not concerned because I'm willing to wait. I'm not in here for just a couple days, couple weeks. I'm in here for the long haul. So I'm going to see what happens when it comes to the journey. We'll wait and see, right? But nonetheless, I'm still going to only be dollar cost averaging once a month. That's it. I don't do any more than that. I don't do any less. I don't want to do any more, and I don't want to do any less than that either. That way, if there's market downturns or let's say, things are not doing the best, I'm still able to stay, for the long term. I treat it like a marathon. It's not a sprint for me. That way, because I'm dollar cost averaging once a month, it kind of evens itself out, right? Sometimes I acquire a little bit high, sometimes I acquire a little bit low, but over the long run, it just kind of more so evens itself out. So that's what I do when it comes to DOT. And keep in mind, people like to say, what happens if DOT goes lower? Well, hypothetically, maybe it could, but we have to consider DOT is around $1.32, around $1.30, basically, for simplicity's sake. Keep in mind, the all-time low is $1.13, right? So it's not like we're so far off that. We're like 19 cents off that, basically. In which case, we're really close to its all time low. So, yes, maybe it could go lower, but if it goes back to its all time low, okay, I suppose. But if it goes back to where it once was in December of 2024, we're around 8 times lower than that. We're not around 8 times higher than the all time low. That is not the case, right? We're just 19 cents over the all time low, yet around 8 times lower than where we once were in December of 2024. So, okay, the journey to the bottom, I could see that, but the ceiling seems a little bit farther away. But I'm just saying, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I'm still waiting as of right now. However, nonetheless, I wanted to make this video to kind of talk about the big upgrade, so to speak, that the Polkadot developers recently announced. So yeah, I just thought it's pretty cool, but I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward. So I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day. It's Winley the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.